Good morning, everyone. Today is the 24th of April. So, yay! I don't know if anyone has a birthday today. So, happy birthday if it's your birthday. We have a ton of stories. Lord Chippy awaits as always, and, just shenanigans and weirdness. I will say that this will be a very Brady sort of morning. Didn't think I'd have one, but two stories about the Brady Bunch, the classic Brady Bunch, not the Redux. So, good morning, Wolfram. Thank you for your modly mod duty. And Tammy, absolutely, if someone is, making it hard for you to use YouTube, I would report that. Definitely, definitely. Good morning, Greedy Bloke and Tammy CA, Santiago Garcia, and Audio Coffee, JKD Buck. Good morning. So, I didn't think that I would ever say this sentence, but new footage is showing an unhinged Russian at JFK Airport, an attempted stowaway. Svetlana Dali, any relation to our Dali? Because we need to know. Tried to slip past the TSA gate agents to board a Paris bound Delta flight. Well, I mean, I guess I too would want to get out of New York. But apparently, this chick was just going to get on the plane regardless of, paying for a ticket. The unhinged Russian stowaway who snuck onto a Paris bound flight at JFK Airport last year gained access to the plane by blending in with a group of passengers and sneaking past two distracted gate agents, a new video captured. A- Allegedly, Svetlana Dali, 75 or 57, was spotted on surveillance footage as she navigated past several security checkpoints before boarding the Delta jet at the Queen's Airport on November 26, 2024. Now, she was waved through a security screening checkpoint before a female TSA agent conducted a quick body pat down before allowing her through to the terminal. Now, according to a video from Port Authority New York and New Jersey that was obtained by the Associated Press, she had allegedly been turned away at one security checkpoint for not having a boarding pass. But she took advantage of the Thanksgiving holiday travel chaos to sneak through the screening area for, employees of the airport. The individual bypassed two identity verification and boarding status stations and boarded the aircraft, a TSA spokesperson said in November. The Russian citizen, who had a U.S. green card, carried her bags to the Delta Gate, where she waited to board Flight 264 bound to Paris. Dressed in a coat and gray hood, she blended in with a group of about five travelers who were being checked in by two gate agents and just walked onto the jetway unnoticed. Well, TSA, you're doing a great job. Just one crazy Russian just gets past all of our security defenses, and I still have to take off my shoes in the airport. Gross. Now, after boarding the plane, the stowaway allegedly hid in one of the lavatories during the takeoff. A flight attendant did notice her inside one of the bathrooms toward the end of the 7-hour flight. She was restrained in a seat and detained by the French police upon landing at Charles de Gaulle Airport. She was booted off two return flights after she caused a disruptive outburst on the first attempt and was barred by the airline for a second trip. Now, she was eventually extradited back to New York City, where law enforcement officials awaited her. A federal grand jury indicted her in January of one count of stowaway on an aircraft, which I didn't even know was a crime. But like Carrie Roberts, just because you don't know it's a crime doesn't mean it's not a crime. Now, she has pled not guilty to the charge. She was initially released from jail under conditions of wearing an ankle monitor, which she then ditched during her attempt to try to cross the border into Canada on a Greyhound bus from Buffalo. The brazen attempt to flee the country came only 10 days after she was released by a judge and ordered to wear the GPS tracker. This woman just doesn't want to stay still. She's like, nope, I'm going to go wherever the heck I want to. You can't tell me nothing. She seems like an okay looking woman, but crazy. Now, she had been staying at a friend's home in Philadelphia at the time. Border officials did arrest her after she failed to provide a passport, and they discovered an active warrant for her arrest because she breached her release agreements. Yeah, don't cut off your GPS monitor. It's a bad idea. Now, her trial is set for May, but lawyers are reportedly working on a plea deal before the court date shows up. Well, I don't know what the lesser includeds are for stowaway, but there you go. Who knew? Well, I mean, who'da thunk it? A former U.S. intelligence agent or U.S. Army intelligence analyst has been sentenced for selling sensitive documents to a Chinese national. Well, I mean, it happens to the best of us, I guess. Sir, are you from Canton, Massachusetts by any chance? Just asking for a friend. A former U.S. intelligence analyst was sentenced to 7 years in prison on Wednesday for giving sensitive military information to a person he believed was affiliated with the Chinese government. Corbin Schultz, 25, of Willis Point, Texas, pled guilty in August 2024 to conspiring to collect and transmit national defense information, unlawfully exporting controlled information to China, and accepting bribes in exchange for sensitive, non public U.S. government information. Well, I mean, I think that's bad. I think all of this is bad. Now, from May 2024 until or 2022 until his arrest in March 2024, Schultz allegedly engaged in ongoing conspiracy to provide dozens of sensitive U.S. military documents, many of which contained export-controlled tactical and technical information, directly to a foreign national living in the People's Republic of China, according to court documents. Now, despite, quote, clear indications, end quote, that the person he was giving the information to was likely connected to the Chinese government, Schultz continued his relationship in exchange for about $42,000. Sir, I don't think 42K is going to make me go to federal pound me in the behind prison. Like, no. So you got 42K, not even enough for a new Tesla, and now you're going to be in federal, prison for 7 years. I mean, doesn't seem worth it to me, but there you go. Now, Schultz did plead guilty to giving a person in China his army unit's operational order before he was deployed to Eastern Europe in support of NATO operations. Lessons learned by the U.S. Army from the Ukraine Russia conflict, applicable to Taiwan's defense, technical manuals for the HH-60 helicopter, an F-22A fighter aircraft, and intercontinental ballistic missile information, along with information on Chinese military tactics, the People's Liberation Army Force or Rocket Force, and details on U.S. military exercises in the Republic of Korea and the Philippines. Well, there you go. Yeah. So he is definitely never coming out of prison. Don't sell secrets to the Chinese government. I didn't think that this would be a kind of more moment, but just don't. Because why would you do that? Now, well, like more important news for me and all you true crime junkies out there, it is looking more and more possible that there is a new serial killer loose in New England. Fears have heightened after an eighth idyllic town has been rocked by a gruesome discovery. I did report on this earlier, maybe last week or the week before, that there have been sort of mutilated and dismembered pieces of women being found in New England towns. And up to now, all of the police agencies have stated that even though these kind of look like similar dumping sites, they have not been linked yet in an official capacity. But this is starting to look, pretty serially, if you ask me. Massachusetts authorities are investigating the death of a woman found unresponsive off of a bike path in Springfield on Tuesday. Springfield police spoke to Ryan Walsh, um, or their spokesperson, Ryan Walsh, said that officers had responded to a report of an unresponsive person near a bike path on the 1500 block of the Hall of Fame Avenue. Now, upon arrival, officers discovered a woman who was pronounced dead shortly after. The SPD homicide unit, under the direction of Captain Trent Duda, is conducting an unattended death investigation in conjunction with the Hampton DA murder unit, pending an autopsy by the medical examiner, Walsh said. Now, this woman's death comes amid rumors circulating online about a possible New England serial killer. Excuse me. Following the deaths of 7 and now 8 people, mostly women, between March and April in Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island. Of Wednesday, authorities have not announced any kind of connection between the 8 victims' death. So this again could be people die. Unfortunately, humans are fallen creatures and sometimes we choose evil. And it's just been a busy month for evil. I don't know. But it is looking like there are some connections to some of these. So it is gaining traction. Now, Walsh told Fox News Digital that the woman's cause of death will be determined by a medical examiner and added that internet rumors are just that. Has the internet been right about anything in the intervening years since it's been invented? Now, the rumors began circulating in a Facebook group called New England Serial Killer, which has since been changed due to Facebook's new rules and regulations. Over the last 2 months, human remains have been found in New Haven, Norwalk, Groyton, Killing, Connecticut, Foster, Rhode Island, and Farmingham, Plymouth, and now Springfield in Massachusetts. Some social media users say that these discovery of human remains, in particularly female remains across 3 neighboring states, may indicate a serial unaliver. But Connecticut State Police told Fox News Digital last week that there is no information at this time suggesting there is any connection to similar remains discoveries, and that there is no known threat to the public at this time, at least regarding the deaths in Connecticut. Now, Peter Vatlin, chair of Forensic Science Department at the University of New Haven's Henry C. Lee College of Criminal Justice and Forensic Sciences, told Fox News Digital that the fact that police responded to reports of an unresponsive woman is strongly suggestive of someone who did not have any postmortem artifacts that would negate the need to check for vital signs and needed to make a pronouncement. If someone is in for full rigor mortis, there's no need to try to find any pulse because the presence of rigor means that they are unequivocally dead. So this is a very recent death, unlike the others that are being attributed to the possible New England serial killer, Valentin said. Now, while some of the remains across the three New England states over the past 2 months were intact bodies that have been identified, others were degraded to the point that it will take time for authorities to figure out who exactly these victims were. In other words, while the remains were located over the span of 2 months, that does not indicate that the victims died around the same time. Valentin noted that Springfield police have not determined whether the woman's death was even a homicide. I am curious about what was recovered around the body, he said. There might have been paraphernalia suggestive of an activity that is de emphasizing homicide, perhaps incorrectly to the investigators, because that article is quite tepid. It is filled with cautious language, surely taken right from police press releases, which might be intentional not to feed into what is now turning into intense scrutiny over every suspicious death in New England. At least 4 of the victims in the 8 cases, 2 in Connecticut, 1 in Rhode Island, and now 1 in Massachusetts, have been identified as women. Police also believe the victim found in Killingly, Connecticut, was a woman in her 40s to 60s, although her identity has not been confirmed. The New England Serial Killer Facebook group, which now has 65,300 members, has garnered more than 15,000 new members this month, as masslive.com first reported. And searches for New England Serial Killer on Google spiked around April 7th, according to data from the search engine. So it is not a true and fast fact, but people are taking notice, and it does look like there may or may not be something going on. And John Gary is correct. Speaking of serial unalivers, yesterday the police announced the identity of Peaches and her 2-year-old daughter, possibly 2 victims of the Long Island serial unaliver. I am so glad that they were able to find that woman's name. I wanna do a short, standalone video about that, because at the bottom of this, every single, bit of remains that are found are someone's child, someone's baby. They were a hurt person and a human, so I'm glad that we're going to be able to put names and faces and stories to these victims so they're not, just forgotten. Now, gird your earloins because we have Lord Chippy. He is coming in hot because the dregs of humanity just won't stop. I start this story with some people should not breed, and I have exhibit A and exhibit B right here. And if these two photos aren't birth control of some sort, I don't know what is. And Lord Chippy, take your time. Attendants, y'all do your work because it's that or the center of the sun for these two. A 12-year-old girl was, quote, restrained to a bed, end quote, and forced to eat cat food by her mother and grandmother, alleges ADA. Well, I don't know what the hell, but this is not Ernest Scared Stupid, so you can wipe that stupid look off your face and, oh my god, Bev bangs. Bangs do not make you look better. Stop it. Two Pennsylvania women were accused of horrifically, neglecting and being awful to a 12-year-old girl, and the alleged abusers were her own mother and grandmother. Again, these two women, that's it. By the power vested in me, by the inappropriate toy of Hasbro, I excommunicate both of you slags from the female line. You are now adult humans, allegedly. And you're no longer a mother or a grandmother. The powers that held you in familial bonds absolved. Just know you are now a female human garbage water. Both of you. Stacey Ann Lauder, 52, and Amanda Lynn Gregorio, 35, were arrested on Monday following an investigation that began in September 2024. Now, according to arrest reports obtained by local news outlet, The Citizen's Voice, the girl was first taken into custody by Luzerne County Children Youth Family Services after she was hospitalized for seizure-like symptoms. Now, during the visit, Gregorio, the girl's mother, allegedly admitted to giving the girl 50 milligrams of Benadryl and 60 milligrams of melatonin before she started showing any symptoms. Now, no, no, that's way too much sedative. Just ugh. From there, the investigators uncovered more about the girl's just horrific home life. Now, according to arrest reports, the girl's trip to the hospital sparked concern among medical professionals who treated her. They had suspected CA based on injuries that she had, including bruising and scars from being restrained to her bed. The girl was asked about being restrained by the cops, and she told them it hurt and made her mad. She also reportedly told police that she was forced to relieve herself while restrained in her bed, where she would remain for long periods of time. Now, according to the report, Lauder and Gregorio had installed cameras into the girl's room to make sure she did not escape. The alleged abuse extended to forcing the girl to eat cat food, which Gregorio admitted to witnessing on the phone, authorities said. Now, the witness also said that Gregorio told her that she didn't like restraining her daughter, but that Lauder, Gregorio's mother, and the alleged victim's grandmother was making her do it. Well, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. You two tons of fun. If my mother did that to my child, I would be in orange, and I don't look good in orange. But sure, Grandma Bangs made, daughter doofus do this. Sure, sure. Now, prosecutors, again, this is horrifying, but this little girl's weight had dropped down to 50 pounds. Luzerne County District Attorney Sam Sengladose said in a statement, quote, "The abuse of this child offends the sense of decency of every mother and grandmother and otherwise respectable person imaginable. Once again, the very people for whom this child would look to safety were her assailants. Lauder and Gregoria were both charged with aggravated assault of a victim less than 13, conspiracy, unlawful restraint, false imprisonment, endangering the welfare of children, recklessly endangering another person, simple assault, and tampering with evidence. They were each held on $125,000 cash bail at Luzerne County Correctional Facility. Now, both women are due in court on May 6th. It doesn't say whether they got out on bail, but I hope not. I hope not. You know, is morticians behaving badly a new section of crime that we are going to start covering? Because I swear to goodness, every week there is a mortician gone bad. There is someone doing some sort of experiment with a dead body that ain't never supposed to happen. So I ask again, do we need to have our own segment of morticians behaving badly? A mortician, quote unquote, experiments, including injecting formaldehyde into body parts to see the effect it had over time on severed extremities. Hey, sweetie, you're not Frankenstein. These aren't your monsters. These are people's relatives. You are gross. What is wrong with you? I do really like your hair, which bothers me. That being said, I like the gold and silver mix. That being said, those eyebrows remind me of no more wire hangers. A Texas mortician is accused of experimenting on bodies, as you do. I mean, she's bored. You have repeat customers. Why not just test things out, I guess? Including injecting formaldehyde into body parts so she could see, quote, the effect it had over time on severed extremities, end quote. Aline Gan Bin Bui, and that was probably a hate crime right there, but that is exactly how my anti-hooked on phonics brain read it. The 50-year-old owner of Capital Mortuary Services in Austin stands accused of abuse of a corpse and 5 counts of tampering with governmental records, police say. Now, the investigation began in early April when the Texas Funeral Service Commission received a complaint that the mortuary and its owner were allegedly engaging in criminal conduct. A probable cause arrest affidavit obtained by local NBC affiliate KXAN stated that a former mortuary employee had filed the complaint. The employee alleged that Boy used their name to fix or amend death certificates. It also alleged that Boy was conducting experiments on severed body parts, including heads, arms, and spines, before cremation. The affidavit reportedly said that Boy had admitted directing her employees to, quote, study the effects of embalming fluid with and without formaldehyde. The employees would inject formaldehyde into a body part and observe the lasting effect it had on it, cops allege. After the experiment was completed, the body parts would then be cremated. What in the name of all that is unholy and how we get final form F and Jesus on this planet? I mean, in all the name of shenanigans, what in the hell is going on here? Boy reportedly said that the experiments were completed on about 15 bodies. Now, while some companies are permitted to do some, this is a no-no for a commercial mortuary, the funeral commission told the cops. Yeah, just bury me in the backyard. I don't want not no one touching me when I'm gone. Quote, it is unlawful for commercial embalming establishments to use a dead human body for research or educational purposes, its executive director reportedly said. This had to be a rule? We had to tell mortuary people not to experiment on dead bodies? Because if they made a rule, they had a problem with this. So who was the first weirdo mortician that's like, I wonder what would happen if we microwaved it? I mean, because if you have a rule, something happened to precipitate it. So who was touching dead bodies first? The defendant also admitted to using an ex employee's name to alter death certificates. Now, she claims she had only done it because the employee's name was in a drop in menu. Investigators reportedly found that she had used this ex employee's name some 128 times. Now, her attorney said context needs to be added to these allegations. Quote,
This case involves complexities that are not immediately apparent and should not be sensationalized. The chick cut up bodies to experiment on them. I don't know how unsensationalized you can get that. I mean, since he was up, uh, no dead body experiments. I think no sensation is needed. Now, her attorney, Jessica Hyen of Smith and Vison law firm, told KXAN. Now, police did arrest her on April 18th, and she has since been bonded out. Her next court hearing is scheduled for May 9th. In a statement, Austin police said it was, quote, committed to enforcing state regulations, protecting the public from predatory practices, and ensuring that decent remains are treated with dignity and, respect in accordance with Texas law. The investigation is ongoing, so maybe we'll find a full Frankenstein's monster in there. Do you think she took some home in Tupperware? Do we have a Chandler Halderson thing? I mean, did she take a nibble? If you guys are watching on replay, put in the comments, did she take a little Chandler? Just a little bite? Just asking for a friend. And then these two absolute numbnuts right here. Now, I have made fun of Wisconsin. I have considered making them the new Florida of the Midwest, but this is shame upon my own state. Dishonor upon me and my cow, as Mushu would say from Mulan. A murder case was dropped because of, quote, ongoing staffing crisis at the prosecutor's office. Well, I guess I know where to commit crime in Indiana. The family of an Indiana man who was found dead of a gunshot wound in 2006 waited years to see someone charged in connection with his death. Now, those charges finally came in 2023 when two suspects were arrested, but now those charges have been dropped. The reason appears to be an ongoing staffing crisis at the prosecutor's office. In court documents filed in Indiana's Howard County, charges against Kevin Maddox, 48, and Amber Brigham, 36, were dismissed without prejudice. Now, both had been arrested in connection to the shooting death of 20-year-old Chad Rouse, who was found dead by police at his home in Kokomo on November 15, 2006. After the case went cold, investigators revisited the evidence and indicted Brigham and Maddox, who were then charged with his murder. Now, Maddox is expected to be released from custody without ever going to trial. Now, according to reporting by WXIN, a local Fox affiliate, Rouse's 2006 homicide was part of a robbery gone wrong. A witness at the time had told police that an unknown man had entered the home with an intent to rob it, and Rouse fought with him. Rouse was fatally shot in the struggle. Now, on May 26, 2023, a grand jury indicted Maddox on charges of murder, robbery resulting in serious bodily injury, and conspiracy to commit robbery resulting in serious bodily injury. Brigham was charged with conspiracy to commit robbery resulting in serious bodily injury and aiding, inducing, or causing robbery resulting in serious bodily injury. Both were arrested days after and had remained in custody ever since. Brigham's trial was scheduled to begin in January but kept getting delayed, WXIN reported. On April 4th, Howard County Superior Court Judge Blake Dahl dismissed all charges against her without prejudice and released her from custody. No reason was provided for that dismissal. Now, when it came to Maddox, his trial was set to take place on Tuesday until his charges were also dropped, again without prejudice. But this time, Senior Judge William Menges provided a reason, writing, quote, the Howard County Prosecutor's Office is facing a significant and ongoing staffing crisis that hinders its ability to adequately prepare for consecutively scheduled major jury trials. Well, it's not like they have like a job to be doing. Now, the judge also cited other major jury trials being undertaken by the court and prosecutor's office that have rendered the state overburdened. The judge left possibility open for the state to refile and amended charges in light of new information. Maddox was released from custody. At the time of the arrest, WXIN spoke to Rouse's sister, who told the station that while the family was relieved that steps were going forward to justice, they were happy but still scared. So, just again, shame on Indiana. Shame, shame. Just absolutely shameful. Now, without prejudice does mean that these charges can be brought again. The judge now, if he dismissed them with prejudice, that basically meant the state didn't have a case. Since he did it without prejudice, it means that, these charges can be refiled, with new data, with new information. But just my heart goes out to the Rouse family. I am so sorry that your justice is delayed yet again due to staffing issues. Staffing issues. And good morning, Captain Kern Makes, and everyone who's trickled in. Welcome, welcome. So that ends Lord Chippy. Don't know if I'm going to send the prosecutor's office or these two a-holes to Lord Chippy, but I'm kind of on with both of them because, honest to God, how, as a prosecutor, can you say, look, we're a little short staffed? You knew this going up to a trial. A trial doesn't happen, overnight. If you guys watch trials, it takes years. There are motions and hearings. It really is amazing that this is happening again. Well, it looks like there might actually be some truth with gladiators, being in combat with lions, in Rome, which is cool. I mean, it's still not Russell Crowe, but what are you going to do? Welcome, Shizzy Raiders. Bites on a gladiator's bone may prove that they were actually in combat with lions. Bite marks found on a skeleton of a Roman gladiator are the first archaeological evidence of combat between a human and a lion, experts say. Now, the remains were discovered in a 2004 dig at Driffield Terrace in York, a site thought now to be the world's only well-preserved Roman gladiator cemetery. Forensic examination of the skeleton of one young man reveals that holes and bite marks on his pelvis were most likely caused by a lion. Yeah, why friend shape if not friend? Because, lions look really cute and they look like kittens until they get all bitey. Professor Tim Thompson, the forensic expert who led the study, said it was the first physical evidence of gladiators fighting big cats. For years, our understanding of Roman gladiatorial combat in animal spectacles has relied heavily on historic text and artist descriptions. This discovery provides first direct physical evidence that such events actually took place in this period, reshaping our perception of Roman entertainment culture in the region. So this is what can you now do one on a German Shepherd in the recent past? Asking for a friend. Now, experts used new forensic techniques to analyze wounds, including 3D scans, which showed the animal had grabbed the man by the pelvis. Ow, which hurts. Now, Professor Thompson from Maynooth University in Ireland said we could tell that the bites happened around the time of death. So this wasn't animal scavenging after the individual died, it was associated with his death. As well as scanning the wound, scientists compared its size and shape to sample bites from large cats at the London Zoo. Bite marks in this particular individual matched those of a lion, Professor Thompson told the BBC News. Now, the location of the bites gave researchers even more information about the circumstances of the gladiator's death. The pelvis, Professor Thompson explained, is not where lions would normally attack. So we think that this gladiator was fighting in some sort of spectacle and was incapacitated, and the lion bit him and dragged him away by his hip. Okay, still don't. Yeah, again, reasons I am glad to be born a chick. I would never have to be a gladiator. No, thank you. I RSVP no. Now, the skeleton was a male aged between 26 and 35 and had been buried in a grave with two others overlaid with horse bones. They put a horse on top of him too? I mean, insult to injury, he gets killed by a lion and smothered by a horse. Previous analysis of the bones pointed to him being a bestiaris, a gladiator sent into combat with beasts. Well, I mean, I guess it's better than other things he can do with beasts now in the year of 2025 are shenanigans. Malene Holst, a senior lecturer in osteoarchaeology at the University of York, said that the 30 years of analyzing skeletons, she had never seen anything like these bite marks. In addition, she said that the man's remain revealed a story of a short and somewhat brutal life. His bones were shaped by large, powerful muscles, and there was evidence of injuries to his shoulder and spine, which were associated with hard physical work and combat. Now, Miss Holst is also the managing director of York Osteoarchaeology, because that's a jammin' party. Added, this is a hugely exciting find because we can now start to build a better image of what these gladiators were like in life. So there you go. We learned that they actually did have lions, tigers, and bears, oh my, at the gladiator thing. Interesting. Well, our first of the Brady Bunch stories, Brady Bunch star Sue Olson almost died during filming of the first episode. I can't remember them doing anything really crazy. Susan Olsen revealed that she almost died while filming the first episode of The Brady Bunch as Cindy Brady. Olsen was joined by three of her co-stars, Mike Lookland, Christopher Knight, and Barry Williams, for a rewatch of The Honeymoon. They discussed the first day of filming the iconic pilot episode that aired in 1969. When talking about one of the scenes during a podcast episode of The Real Brady Brothers, Olsen revealed that it was the last time there was a close up shot of Cindy because I got injured. Her co stars couldn't hide their shock as the news as she continued, yeah, I almost died. On the Culver lot, they were shooting something, I would assume, in the girls' bedroom, and I was getting body makeup on my legs, Olsen said. I was standing on a makeup chair and something from the catwalk where they keep all the lights, and everything fell. It hit the makeup man first, bounced off the body makeup woman, and hit me in the face. You can tell if you look at the wedding ceremony, you can see three girls on one side, and if you zoom in really tight, you can see my face is quite swollen, Olsen explained. I look different. You can even see it in some of the early publicity shots. You can tell my face was a little swollen. Florence Henderson, who starred as Carol Brady, was there to comfort Olsen and make sure everyone knew that the young actress had been injured. However, everyone else around insisted that she was fine. Well, I mean, did you get hit by a football, though? Now, Olsen recalled thinking at the time, I don't want to be brave. In fact, I don't want to cry. I want to sob. I'm just going to let go, forget all my pride, and just sob because this hurts. But she did end up putting on a brave face and holding back her tears. The saddest news is that we didn't sue Paramount because I would have made more off that than the show, Olsen joked. But I came to work the next day, and Florence was the first one to see me, and she's like, you make sure everyone sees her. And my mom was like, oh, yes, I will. Everyone was trying to say it really didn't hit her. She's fine. My eyes were black. I mean, I had two black eyes, and my nose was swollen. My face was swollen. I remember loving it because I looked like I was in a horror film. And then everyone knew, yes, I'd gotten hurt, and I'd gotten hurt very badly. Paramount brought out Hal King, the makeup artist who did Lucille Ball's makeup, to cover her bruises. King also worked with Henderson for the entire filming of The Brady Bunch. The cover up of Olsen's injury must have worked great because her male co stars didn't even notice. I didn't know anything about it, Knight said during the podcast. The Brady Bunch aired from 1969 to 1974. The show starred Henderson and Robert Reed as the mom and dad, Carol and Mike Brady, who shared a blended family of three boys and three girls from previous marriages. So there you go. Apparently, they almost killed Cindy off, and it was going to be the Brady, well, five. But then the Jacksons stole it. um, Now, just what in the Manson lamps do we have here? A man accused of going on a tree killing spree with a chainsaw has been arrested. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say, you know, probably. That mugshot says, yeah, he probably did. After numerous trees were cut down all throughout Los Angeles, a suspect has been arrested in connection with the crime. On Tuesday, April 22nd, the Los Angeles Police Department announced the arrest of Samuel Patrick Groff, who is accused of felony vandalism for allegedly using a chainsaw to cut down trees in areas of downtown Los Angeles, the West Lake District, and Glassell Park. The LA resident was arrested around 4:30 p.m. local time that same day when LAPD Rampart detectives located him near Custer Avenue and West Sunset Boulevard. Now his bail was set to $150,000 per online jail records reviewed by People. Now, Groff's arrest comes shortly after a community alert was issued by the LAPD warning to use caution and not approach. Police said detectives located evidence linking Croft to, well, cutting down of trees on April 17th, 18th, 19th, and 22nd. He really didn't read Johnny Appleseed, did he? That's not the way this works. He planted trees, not cut them down. While an investigation is underway, police estimated during a press conference on Wednesday that the number of trees cut down was 11, according to KNBC, and the damage to 8 of the trees is estimated to add up to about $347,000 per the outlet. I've never seen anyone go and attack trees, especially around the time of Earth Day. Everyone wanted to know who did it and why. We wanted to know the who. The why will be part of the investigation, said LAPD Commander Lillian Garzana at a press conference. Well, I mean, yeah, get the tree unaliver. I'm sure the murderers will wait. There you go. Have fun with that. So we got him. The tree serial, chainsawyer is out. Also, how does one carry a chainsaw just around in LA on a Tuesday and cut down a bunch of trees? And no one notices? Okay. I give up. I have no idea what's going on, but there you go. Where is it? Oh, here we go. Our second Brady Bunch story. The mystery surrounding a Brady Bunch plotline has finally been addressed decades after the show stopped filming. 4 original cast members from the Brady Bunch have addressed a question about the show's plot that's gone unanswered for decades. The revelation was made on the Real Brady Brothers podcast, which follows Christopher Knight, 67, and Barry Williams, 70, who played middle son Peter and oldest son Greg, respectively, as they rewatched the original series. Appearing on the April 22nd episode, where Susan Olsen, who played the youngest daughter Cindy, and Mike Lookaland, who played the second youngest son Bobby, the 4 on-screen siblings quickly got into one of the show's unspoken plot lines, Carol Brady's first husband. The group discussed the show's pilot episode entitled The Honeymoon, which showed the dynamics of bringing the 2 families together. In the episode, which originally aired on September 26, 1969, Carol Martin, played by the late Florence Henderson, wed Mike Brady, played by the late Robert Reed. Now, viewers learned that the boy's mother, Mike Brady's previous wife, had died, but they never really discussed what happened to Carol's ex-husband. That's because they figured it out in a movie, and he was Gilligan the professor. He was the professor from Gilligan's Island. It's like no one watched the Brady Bunch movies from the 90s. There was a whole discrepancy in the basis of the show, in the concept of the show that the network fought. The series creator, Sherwood Schwartz, said, and that premise was that a widower with 3 sons and a divorcee with 3 daughters got together. The network felt like the divorcee created too many problems for the series. Among those problems were the custody arrangement between Carol and her ex-husband and the explanation for their divorce. We're playing to a very conservative country, Williams noted, so they wanted Carol to be a widow, but she wasn't exactly a widow. Sherwood never changed it. They agreed to disagree, and it was left unhandled, which is why you never see in our pilot episode Carol's ex-husband, Williams continued. The ambiguity of Carol's situation did create some confusion. Carol's parents were known as the Tylers, but her married name was Martin, and though there was never an episode of adoption of the Brady Bunch, Carol and her 3 girls all took the Brady name after her marrying Mike. might pointed out that the series didn't even reference Mr. Martin. Still, the original Brady Bunch series ran for 5 seasons, with the final episode airing on March 8th, 1974. There were several spin offs, including an animated series in 1972, a variety show in 1976, and a sitcom in the 80s, The Brady Bride, or Brady Brides, and a 1990 sequel and continuation of the original series, The Bradys, and several made for TV movies. So, now, there were also 2 films, the bestest Brady films ever, the Brady Bunch movie in 1995, followed up by a Very Brady sequel in 1996. So there you go. Interestingly, the plot for the 1996 film, which includes original creator Schwartz as a producer, involved Carol's long-lost husband, Roy Martin. So he brought it back full circle. I just love that. In my final Mo Craves nostalgia before we leave, I don't know about y'all, but you want to say we start a fundraiser so I can buy the Mystic Pizza House uh, just to wallow in my 80s nostalgia for the rest of my life? The on-screen home of Julia Roberts from her breakout role in 1988 film Mystic Pizza hit the market last month for $749,900, and it's already on its way out. Well, damn, I can't buy the house now. Damn it, damn it. I will have to sink into my 80s nostalgia somewhere else. The residence does have a pending offer, though the sale is accepting backups. The Norwich Bulletin first reported the news. Roberts, just 21 at the time, starred as free-spirited Daisy Arjulo in the coastal Connecticut coming-of-age film, where 3 Portuguese-American friends, including Daisy, live and find love in seaside Mystic, Connecticut, working together at the town's eponymous pizza parlor. Don Petrie, known for How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days and Miss Congeniality, directed the film. I love that show. Look, my mom made me watch it until I loved it. Daisy and her sister Kat, played by Annabeth Gish, lived with their struggling single mother in the classic cedar shingle home. The actual property is located in Pawtucket? Look, I don't know, somewhere, which is about 15 minutes from the real-life village of Mystic and its real-life pizza shop. The waterfront dwelling, well, this is not going to work. 1,600 square feet. But still, it is interesting. It's a cute little house. I love the show. I thought it was a cute little movie, and I guess I won't be buying it again. That being said, if my husband found out I wanted to buy a 1,600 square foot house for 800,000, he would lose his mind. That being said, now I want pizza. So there you go. We can't have Mystic Pizza, but we can watch the movie, and I suggest we all do that. In my final story for today, and something I'm trying out new, let me see if I can get this. Stop screen, send, share screen. Okay. All right, you guys, I don't know if you remember this, but we are going to take you back because
Mr.
today in history, we got this gem.
Mr. Ponton, I believe you have a filter turned on in the video settings. You might want
Poor
to
cat.
take
We're
a look.
trying to. Can you hear me, Judge?
I can hear you. I think it's a filter.
It is, and I don't know how to remove it. I've got my assistant here. She's trying to, but
I am not a cat. I am not
I'm
a cat.
prepared to go forward with it. I'm here live. I'm not a cat.
I can see that.
I'm not a cat.
I think if you click the up arrow next to the start video or stop video button at the bottom, you'll see video settings. And I believe in video settings, you will see.
I feel so bad for this man. You know that stress bead of sweat is just rolling down his spine all the way to his butt crack. But let's continue because this is the best video ever.
See you will see the video filters option.
Okay, this man is not your friend. This man called in his assistant to make fun of you. You need to remember that when you send out Christmas bonuses.
That you can turn off.
Not even subtle,
There
Mr.
we go.
Phillips.
There we go.
On that note, I'm going to send you over to the Karen Reed. We are back for day 3. Please, someone save me. Keep this cat, I am not a cat video up for our sanity. Bye, you guys. Remember to be kind to yourself, be kind to others, have a sassy mouth, carry a can of bitch fire, and remember, you are not a cat unless you want to be. Bye, my lovelies.